that when you're analyzing that is really the poorest country's growth rate is highest or not, we found that when you have taken all the countries in the world, 114 countries, uh, that prediction that the growth of the poorest country is highest is not getting satisfied from 1960 to 2000. Then we have also checked it from 1870 to 2008. Uh, it's not getting satisfied, but when we have taken homogeneous country, uh, we find that, yeah, the growth rate of the poorest country is highest. Now the question is whether this particular figure that says that the poorest country has a highest growth, whether that particular stuff is satisfied or not. So this figure is basically meant for that. Again, we are measuring per capita capital stock in the horizontal axis. In the vertical axis, we are measuring the growth rate k dot over k. This negatively sloped line is SFK over k. Now we have two different economy: a poor economy with savings rate S1 and a rich economy with a savings rate S2. Steady state per capita capital stock for the rich economy is K2 star, and the steady state per capita capital stock of the poor economy is K1 star. So it's basically the economies are different, the two different economy. If that happens, so two different economy means two different steady state. So you can say there is a group of countries with savings rate S1, and you can also assume that a group of countries with savings rate S2. So two groups of countries, and they have two different steady state. If that is true, in that case, you see that particular prediction does not hold. That if you take, as I said, if you take any particular capital stock in between K1 star and K2 star, in that case, for the poor economies whose relevant steady state is associated with K1 star, they have a negative growth rate. But the group of economies whose relevant steady state is denoted by K2 star, they have a positive growth rate. That means a rich country has a higher growth rate than the poor country. So what that matters is basically whether that this particular figure, it assumes that this is true, that the poorest country has a highest growth rate if you have a same steady state. When you have a different steady state, that prediction does not hold. In this case, these rich countries that we have taken in this particular diagram, or the rich economies we have taken in this particular diagram, they're homogeneous in the sense that they have identical steady state. As a result, that particular convergence theorem, which we call the conditional convergence theorem, that among the homogeneous group of countries, the poorest country's growth rate is highest. That holds. So we do not have a absolute convergence in Solow model. Absolute convergence means we cannot take all the countries together and check whether they are converging or not. In that case, the prediction of the Solow model does not hold. But prediction of the Solow model holds, so there is no absolute convergence. The prediction of the Solow model holds for conditional convergence. That means if you check countries, homogeneous group of countries, among the homogeneous group of countries, the poorest country has a highest growth rate. And that is also satisfied with this is exactly what Solow model says, and this is the figure. As I said, a group of country with a poor group of country, they have a savings rate S1, relevant steady state denoted by K1 star, and a group of homogeneous country, rich country, they have a savings rate S2, they are relevant steady state is K2 star. Now you check that you won't find absolute convergence. You find really your what is called conditional convergence to hold. So this is basically the stuff what we see in the figure. Now So this is the stuff. Okay, now we are moving to the development of the model further. Okay, any question?
You just said there is no absolute convergence, or this is conditional convergence. So I didn't realize earlier, but the name this conditional convergence, why is it called? Is it the reason that it only works when we have some the same homogeneous group of countries, and that's why it's called conditional convergence?
Your question is not clear to me at all. If your English is, if you
Then
have
why are
problem
we
with English, you
calling
can
it?
ask me in Hindi.
Why are we calling it conditional convergence?
Because it's
Uh,
basically we are
that's what
when it is tested among the homogeneous group of countries, then only it is satisfied. That is the condition. That is why it is conditional.
okay.
Any further question? So this is what we get empirically from the scatter plot. It is satisfied with the Solow model. Solow model says that. So among the homogeneous group of countries, so this is also is true over here. Is basically if you see your rate of growth of per capita capital stock is basically how far away your capital stock is from the steady state. Okay, but this steady state is basically the steady state relevant to you. This is the steady state that is steady state relevant to you. So which steady state is relevant to you, whether the steady state associated with the poor countries or the associated with the rich countries, that matters. Once you identify that, then okay, you find that the poorest countries has a highest steady state among the group of countries who has the same steady state. Actually, that's homogeneity over here. Okay, so that part is fine. Now we are moving towards the refinement of the Solow model, but that particular problem is still there. This simple model, there is no growth of anything per capita in the long run. Per capita capital stocks growth rate at the long run is 0. Per capita outputs growth rate at the long run is 0. But data says per capita output is continuously growing and its growth rate does not fall. This is something that simple Solow model cannot produce. And we need a further development of the Solow model. The Solow, what Solow did, only the change of the production function. Till now, we have been working with a production function yt equals to kt to the power alpha nt to the power 1 minus alpha. Now we are working with a production function yt equals to kt to the power alpha, then in the bracket at nt whole to the power 1 minus alpha, where at is technology or total factor productivity. And among the other assumptions, the only extra assumption Solow brings in to this augmented Solow model is this technology or the total factor productivity AT is growing at the rate small g, which is a fraction. So what is this AT-NT? NT is basically the labor force or labor hour. AT-NT is basically the effective labor hour. You see what is happening for given capital stock. Suppose you need initially, let's say you need 10 units of labor to produce, let's say 5 units of output for given capital stock. 10 units of labor NT. So given capital stock, suppose initially 80 was not there in the initial production function, kt to the power alpha, nt to the power 1 minus alpha. Suppose in that kind of production function, given capital stock, you need 10 units of labor force to produce 5 units of output. Now, over here, when you introduce AT&T, new production function, what you need, the value of AT&T has to be equals to 10 to produce YT equals to 5. That means if AT is higher, you need lower and lower amount of labor force to produce same amount of output. Clear? What is exactly what this production function exactly doing? To produce the same amount of output, even a lower amount of labor force is required. Again, let me tell you what is happening. Forget about the capital stock completely. Suppose the capital stock is not there. Initially, your production function, let's say YT equals to NT to the power 1 minus alpha. Now the production function changed, YT equals to AT NT to the power 1 minus alpha. In the initial production function, suppose you need 10 units of labor to produce 5 units of output. But in the new production function, you need 10 units of effective labor to produce 5 units of output. That means AT NT equals to 10. So if AT equals to, let's say 5, NT equals to 2. If AT equals to, let's say 10, NT equals to 1. That means you need lower and lower amount of labor force to produce same amount of output as the total factor productivity of labor rises or technology improves. Improved technology allows you to employ less amount of labor to produce same amount of output. This is exactly what is happening over here. If you compare equation number 9, this production function with the old production function which is given in equation number 1, the only difference is the NT is multiplied by AT. And the intuition is simple. As the technology improving, that means AT is taking higher and higher values. You can employ less and less amount of labor to produce same amount of output. Is it clear? Any question? This is basically the intuition of this production function. This is the same Cobb-Douglas production function, constant return to scale, with labor augmenting technological progress. Labor augmenting technological progress, and it is also known as Harrod neutral technological progress. Intuition, if AT rises, you need lesser and lesser amount of employment to produce same amount of output. That means labor is become more productive when the technology improves. As the technology AT is improving, taking higher and higher values, your same amount of labor is becoming more productive. Clear? Any question?
So what was the name of this variable again? Variable A.
Any question? Obhideep, I'm not going to answer your part. No, I'm not going to answer your question. I told several times what does this A represent.
Technological advancement, but like proper name, there must be some proper name of this variable. You have said two, three terms, so I got confused. Like what was the
what you have heard? 2, 3 terms. Among the 2, 3 terms, one you can remember. One is technology, another total factor productivity. Both are synonymously used. AT represents either technology or total factor productivity. Anything else? Any question? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
No, Obhideep is fine. I know. I understood that it is clear to you now. Anybody else? Odrija Odhikari?
It's clear, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Ishani Kaur is clear? I think she is not here. anyway. So now what Solo has done, Solo has defined output per effective labor force denoted by Y hat T and capital per effective labor force denoted by small k hat T. So small y hat T is basically Yt divided by AT&T. Small k hat T equals to KT divided by AT&T, and written the same and derive the same fundamental equation of the Solo model now in terms of effective per capita capital stock. Equation number 12. So this is now your turn to derive it. Identical methodology, absolutely identical. The only thing is now instead of dividing both sides by NT of equation number 9, if you divide both sides of equation number 9 by AT&T, you will find small yt hat equals to small kt hat to the power alpha. Please do it and tell me that whether you got it or not. So that's the first step of deriving the fundamental equation. In equation number 9, you divide both sides by effective labor force AT&T. If you do that with some simple algebraic manipulation, you will get y hat t equals to k hat t to the power alpha. Check.
Yes, sir, it is coming out to be that.
Is it?
So this y hat t, right?
Y hat t equals to k hat t to the power alpha. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Then fine, very good. Then you try to obtain this fundamental equation in terms of uh, effective capital stock. K hat dot t equals to s k hat t to the power alpha minus n plus delta plus g k hat t. Equation number 12. So people who obtain the production function in the form yt hat equals to kt hat to the power alpha, they should try deriving equation number 12. This is the fundamental equation of the Solo model or the augmented Solo model. Sagar Suman,
Yes, sir.
हाँ, कहाँ पे हो? Where are you exactly in the
Yes, sir.
derivation?
Second one, try.
Okay, the production function derivation is fine, right?
Yes.
Okay. You can take hint from here. So this is basically now you have to this part, this capital K dot T divided by AT&T. After some algebraic manipulation, the way I have shown you, it should be K hat dot T plus G plus N K hat T. This is the hint. So if you understood how to derive the fundamental equation with this simple Solow model, this is basically the spirit of solution. The spirit of derivation is basically identical. Palkit Lohia.
Yes, sir. Sorry, my sister fell down, so that's why I had to.
No, it's fine. Where are you exactly in the derivation?
Sir, I'm just like 2 steps more, and then I'll be reaching the final step.
Okay, very good. Please carry on.
Yes, sir.
Aman Khoiwal. Aman Khoiwal. What? Have you guys got it? पलकित हुआ?
हाँ सर, बस ऑलमोस्ट एक ही समझ में नहीं आ रही, वो कर रहा हूँ मैं, डिफरेंशिएट कर रहा हूँ सर।
ना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है because I think you guys have not tried to derive the fundamental equation of the Solow model, of a simple Solow model. I think वो you guys have not practiced. Otherwise, there is no point of not having it.
ये
Who?
सर यथार्थ।
हाँ बोलो। मिला? Got it?
यस सर।
Very good. Priyanksha,
Yes, sir.
मिला?
Yes, sir. I'm doing.
You are doing. Okay, करो. Shachi,
Sir, actually, I lost my connection for 10
हाँ.
minutes, so I'm very figuring out that
No, the
what is.
first part was basically I told them uh, from equation number 9, when you divide both sides of equation number 9 by AT&T, you should have y hat t equals to k hat t to the power alpha. That was the first assignment that I have given to them. And after that, I told them to derive this fundamental equation in terms of effective capital stock.
Okay, sir.
Shivam Kumar, Shivam Kumar, Shivam Kumar. Tushar Khokar.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm doing
Arut,
the second one.
second one.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir. Done.
Very good.
Sir, I am also done.
Very good.
Sir, I have completed 2.
Okay. Sagar Suman, got it? Hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes.
Tushar Kokar, got it hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Obidu Khare, you got it hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Marchala Sai Manohar,
Yes, sir.
have you got it?
Yes.
Very good. So anybody still not got it? Arnav,
Yes, sir. Got it.
very good. Ishani, Lakshya,
Sir, I'm doing it. Just a bit. I'm doing it just now.
okay. So as you find, when this equation number 12 is obtained, people who obtained equation number 12 already, try to find out these two. Equation number 13. KSS hat and YSS hat. Equation number 13 and equation number 14. The steady state effective capital stock and the steady state effective output should be H divided by n plus delta G whole to the power 1 over 1 minus alpha, and YSS hat will be S divided by n plus delta plus G whole to the power alpha by 1 minus alpha. So these are independent of T, constant, does not depend on T. So KSS hat, YSS hat, equation 13, equation 14. That means at the steady state, you have to just set K hat T dot equals to 0. If you set K hat T dot equals to 0, equation number 13 and equation number 14 can be derived. Please remember, when you derive this, since this right hand side is independent of T, don't write KSS hat T or K hat T or YSS hat T or Y hat T. No, that will be a mistake. It is independent. The steady state values are independent of T. Okay, try to derive it. People who got equation number 12, Please try to derive equation number 13 and equation number 14. Sneha,
Yes, sir.
have you derived the fundamental equation, equation 12?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, or no, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So then try to derive the steady state values, KSS hat and YSS hat.
Sir, done.
Done. So
Yes.
you already got equation 13 and equation 14, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now, people got equation number 14, should try to get equation number 15. This is the steady state value of per capita output, equation number 15. Equation number 14 is the steady state value of effective output, YSS hat. This is the steady state value of per capita output, which is equals to the steady state value of the effective output multiplied by the technology AT. Try to get this. People who already obtained equation number 14, try to get equation number 15. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So now that problem is solved. If you got it perfectly. Now it basically says the long run per capita output is growing at the rate of technology. So now all points that why some countries are rich and some countries are poor, answer countries are different in terms of savings rate, population growth rate, and depreciation rate, rate of growth of technological progress, and that is why some countries are rich and some countries are poor. Why the growth rate are different? Because if you consider this model, um, mm, per capita output is growing at the rate of technology. That's basically the first point of this our Caldor fact. Now you can say that okay, countries are different in terms of population growth and technology growth, and that's why their long run growth rate of physical output and per capita output is different. Please remember, this is basically the long run rate of growth of per capita output in this model, G. As a result, the long run growth of capital Y, capital Y dot T divided by capital YT has to be equals to N plus G. Okay, so per capita output is growing at the rate G in the long run, but actual output is growing at the rate N plus G in the long run. Now you set G equals to 0, you get your simple Solow model back. If there is no technological progress, all the results you obtain from the canonical simple Solow model holds. The only thing is now we are introducing a positive G. Once you introduce the positive G, there is a per capita growth. Capital stock per capita will grow at the rate G in the long run. Capital stock per capita or output per capita will grow at the rate G, the technological progress in the long run. As a result, the physical capital stock, capital K, is going to grow at the rate N plus G in the long run, and physical output, capital Y, actual output, is going to grow at the rate N plus G in the long run. So since countries are different in terms of their population growth and technological progress, hence the Solow model answers they are different in terms of growth rate. Alpha is the capital share in national income, constant in the Caldor fact, Solow model constant. Similarly, labor share in the national income, constant in the Caldor fact, constant in the Solow model. Conditional convergence holds, not absolute convergence. That means among the homogeneous group of countries, the poorest country has highest growth rate, and there is a continuous growth in the per capita output, and that does not fall. In fact, people have seen that in the rich countries, the OECD group of countries that we have already focused, that Japan, USA, UK, Portugal, Sweden, all those countries, people have seen that means for last 40 to 60 years, their per capita output is growing at the rate of 2%. And we will show as the lecture progresses how to calculate the technological growth. So they have calculated technological growth from the data, and they have actually got the technology growth for all those countries is around 2%. Okay, so this is basically the explanation. What Solow model is predicting in the long run, the per capita output and the per capita capital stock will grow at the rate of technology G. That's the prediction. This prediction holds. We will show. Still, I have not shown how to calculate technological progress from the data. So there are methodology. Using that methodology, people have calculated technological progress for different countries, and they have seen that for developed and rich countries, the rate of growth of technological progress is in fact the rate of growth of per capita output of those countries. So Solow's prediction holds. Okay. Any question?
Can you just explain the last part, like how the Solow prediction holds true? Like I can't understand a bit of it.
Solow's prediction in this model, in this augmented model, that per capita output is growing at the rate of technology, right? Laksha? This
Yes,
is
sir.
equation number 15 says, and people have tested that with the data. So you have data of per capita output. People have calculated, let's say, the growth rate of per capita output from 1960 to 2010 or 2015. And people also calculated the rate of growth of technology from 1960 to 2015, and they matches for rich countries.
Was that some real data means the after the some real, I mean, they collected the real data and they had equated this theoretical or hypothetical
Real
situation.
bills? What is real?
I mean, in the real life, like they noted the progress rate like, over the years.
I'm not getting your point at all. What you try to say? What did you try to say? I said that per capita output data or per capita GDP data is available. They have calculated the rate of growth of per capita GDP for last, let's say, 40 to 45 years. And they have also calculated the rate of growth of technological progress for last 40 to 50 years for rich countries, and they matches. And this is exactly what this model predicts. There is nothing hypothetical over here. That is the prediction of the model, and whether that prediction is matching with the data. The prediction of the model is the per capita output should grow at the rate of technological progress in the long run. That's the prediction of the model. How do you going to test that empirically? You have a data of per capita GDP for last 40 to 45 years for different countries. For each country, you calculate their growth rate for last 40 to 45 years. Similarly, you have a data of technological progress for those countries for last 40 to 45 years. You calculate their growth rate for last 40 to 45 years. And when they calculate and they say, see, yes, actually the per capita rate of per capita GDP is growing at the rate of technological progress. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now the question is, you can ask that how did you get the rate of growth of technological progress? How do you calculate? This is something that I have not still explained. I will explain that. So there is a methodology of calculating A dot divided by A, that is rate of growth of technological progress. So all those things that we have started with, the basic 4-5 questions in economics of growth, it is answered by Solow model. Countries are different in terms, by some countries are rich, some countries are poor, because of countries are different in terms of savings rate, population growth, rate of growth of technology, depreciation rate of capital stock. Growth rate are different because population growth rate and technological growth rate, these are two determinants of long run growth in the Solow model. They are different for different countries. Conditional convergence holds that among the homogeneous group of countries, the poorest has the highest growth rate. All the Kaldor facts now is satisfied. So we have started with certain objective, and Solow model can achieve those objectives, this simple model. Any question? Okay, then let us do one thing. One particular proof, I think that is very much important. Let me open my Word document. Okay. What you have to prove that without taking any specific functional form, suppose it's a general functional form is given to you, let's say y t, let me give a t, or let me just simple write y. So I'm just removing t. So there is t, but I'm not writing it. Is a function, that's production function, standard one. Okay. K comma L. General production function, constant return to scale technology. Okay. Suppose this is a production function, constant return to scale technology. Then without assuming any functional form, you have to prove this. Capital Y divided by L, which is equals to small y, the per capita output, equals to capital F capital K by L, comma 1, which is equals to small f small k. We have already seen that when we have assumed a typical Cobb-Douglas constant return to scale production function, we have seen that per capita output is a function of per capita capital stock only. What I'm trying to say, you take any constant return to scale production function, not only the Cobb-Douglas you have taken, any constant return to scale production function, that means a production function which is homogeneous of degree 1, you will going to get per capita output is a function of per capita capital stock only. So do not need to assume any specific functional form for that. Prove it. So we have already proven it. If you have a Cobb-Douglas type constant return to scale production function, your per capita output depends on per capita capital stock only. You have already proven that. That means y equals to k to the power alpha, n to the power 1 minus alpha, small y equals to small k to the power alpha. We got it. Per capita output is a function of per capita capital stock only. Now the thing is, now the assignment that I'm giving, that you take any constant return to scale production function. You do not need to assume any functional form for that. You always get that per capita output is a function of per capita capital stock only. Small y equals to f of small k. Homogeneous of degree 1. Constant return to scale function means it is homogeneous of degree 1.
So I didn't get it. Like we can just substitute capital K is equals to small k times L, and we can use the property that we can take out capital L from the function.
Exactly so, but why? You have to use the property of the constant return to scale function. If you can use it properly, it will come. The constant return to scale, what is the property of that? If k and L is multiplied by lambda times, your output will be multiplied by lambda time for any lambda positive, right? This is homogeneous of degree 1. If capital and labor is increased or decreased by a particular proportion lambda positive, then the output is going to increase or decrease in the same proportion lambda positive. This is the property. You have to use that property only, nothing else.
Okay, so we'll substitute capital K is equals to small k times capital L, and then we'll divide the So I will take lambda as 1 by L.
Very good. You got it.
And
You got it. I know you got it. Let other do. Then I'll tell you. He got it. So this is the property that you have to use. F of in the bracket for any positive, let's say lambda, lambda k, comma, lambda L is equals to lambda y. This is the property. This k means kt, L means lt, y means yt. The time in the bracket is there, but I have not written it explicitly. After that, this property has to be used. Now we are almost there. It's basically one thing that I have not written, comma, lambda positive. After that, what should you do, Sneha?
Lambda equals 1 by L.
Lambda equals to?
1 by L.
Lambda equals to 1 by L. So 1 by L is also positive. So I can set lambda equals to 1 by L. So if I simply set lambda equals to 1 by L positive, I will get y by L, which is my per capita output, which is equals to my small y equals to this. Do not need to assume any functional form. As long as your function is homogeneous of degree 1 or constant return to scale, your per capita output is always a function of your per capita capital stock. It's pretty simple. Very good. Okay. Any question? Okay. It's all there. Okay, then before going to this full-blown mathematical solution of the differential equation, differential equation, or fundamental equation. So we have solved fundamental equation in terms of graphically. You see that the same graphical way of representing this fundamental equation holds. The only thing that now you have to measure effective capital stock, that is k hat t in the horizontal axis and y hat t in the vertical axis, then same figures holds. So the same way you can analyze your fundamental equation. So, but this part interesting. As I said, I'm going to show that actually technology has a role to play, and exactly numerically people got it. But this is something, a very interesting figure. is basically coming from Madison 2010 paper. It is year is plotted over here from 1000 BC, 1000 AD, I think. Yeah. So it's common year. Actually, AD and BC does not get used right now because there are religious connotation. People are using CE and BCE, common year or before common year. Okay. This is 1000 common year to 2000 common year in the horizontal axis. In the vertical axis, now they are measuring log of GDP per capita for different countries. Countries mean group of countries, because long ago there was no difference of countries. So you have Asia, you have Africa, you have Latin America, you have Western Europe. And they have plotted how their log of GDP per capita evolves over the time. There is a time period in Europe, 1760 to 1840, they have an industrial revolution. And what you see over here, this is something around 1760. Before 1760, if you see the evolution of the per capita GDP of Western Europe, this line. This is the evolution of per capita GDP in Western Europe before Industrial Revolution. After Industrial Revolution, it just simply shoots off. So it clearly shows that the prediction of the Solow model holds. Technological evolution has a role to play to determine the evolution of per capita output in the long run. So technology, this industrial revolution means the technological progress, 1760. And after that, you see the slope of the curve. The slope of the curve representing the time path of log of GDP per capita. It just becomes steeper after 1760. So it started growing at a very high rate. And what people have seen that this is something technological progress, G. And that's the prediction of the Solow model. Per capita output or per capita GDP in the long run is going to grow at the rate of technological progress. Interesting part over here, if you go very long ago, something around 1000 common year, Asian country, the log of GDP of Asian country is higher than the log of GDP of even the Western Europe. That means Asian countries were richer, the rich countries compared to European countries long ago, something around 1000 common year. But over the time, gradually, there is almost absolutely no growth of Asia. You see, almost flat the GDP, per capita GDP. But Western Europe started growing gradually because the Asian countries, most of the colonies of Britishers. So they have taken rent out of Asia and they have used it for the development of their own countries. This is completely visible. There is absolutely no growth. Log of per capita GDP of Asia is almost flat, but Western Europe started growing gradually. Log of per capita GDP started increasing. But suddenly after 1760, the growth become rapid for Western Europe because 1760 is the year of technological revolution. So when the industrial revolution comes in, technological progress comes in, GDP started growing like anything. So technological progress has a role to play. Now the only thing we have to check numerically that whether the rate of growth of technological progress is exactly the rate of growth of per capita output, what is predicted by the Solow model, but they have a relation. This graph clearly shows that. Okay. Fine. A very interesting figure, and I quite like this figure. And I'll come to this figure later. The only thing that remains is basically this solution part, and which we will pick it up in the next class. But before that, I will request everybody to read till this 44, number 44 slide. Then you keep from 45, you keep this 45 to 47, 48. We are going to do it in the next class, but also please read this 49. Please start reading now, because a lot of information we have already got, and we have already got the solo model is really doing miracle. Simplest possible model, but matching the data. Start reading. Any question? So a lot of people just do not just ask question. Why? Karthikeya might. It's not here. Pokrat Shivam Shyamsundar. Are you here? Where do they go? Priyanshu Kumar Singh.
Yes, sir.
Any question, Priyanshu?
No, sir.
Any doubt? Any clarification? Any question? So whatever discussed till now is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are going to have our first internal examination on 13th of September. I will send email, don't worry. But 13th of September will be our first internal examination. 20 marks. As I said, we are going to have 3 internal examination, 20 marks each. That will be 60 marks. 1 Moodle exam final for the entire syllabus taken together. Last one, 20 marks. And the 20 marks will be for attendance. So this is the total 100 marks. Okay, so first internal will be on 13th of September, followed by the discussion of the answer of the exam on 14th of September. Okay, then if you guys do not have any question, then I'm going to end today's lecture over here, and we will again pick it up on Monday, next Monday at 3 o'clock. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.